Really? Here we are. You're actually around here now. If you want to go over there, do your thing, or just talk about the tour. Yeah. Hmm? It will when you start speaking. It should, but you might have to go ask him.
Put in a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is Rift Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Sensitive/offensive content disclaimer. Please note that this podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Good evening, travelers, and those alike. Welcome to the Orion Effect right here on the RNN, the Rift Nation Network. Yeah, we're brought to you live tonight through YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Kicks. Let's keep it going. Show tonight is brought to you by Boost Paranormal. Best product for the best price for the right person. Also, as you saw earlier in our pre-show, a little prom bob too, if you will, GOS, Ghosts of Staunton, Virginia. Check them out. The Caesar tours are on now. Get your tickets. It's a perfect season for you to take a haunted tour of one of the most haunted cities in America. Not just Virginia, not East Coast, but America. Wow, do we have a lot going on? We got all big show for you tonight.
Yes, we do.
We do. And Rhonda, I'm going to let you put out there in the hellos before I go to the
All right, let us go.
Oh, wait a minute. For those who don't know who we are, I am quintessential social media hitman himself.
And I am Rhonda Harris. See, this is what happens when we stay up late. We don't even know who we are.
Yeah. 4 hours of podcast yesterday, 3 hours today. Woo woo.
Yep, that's right. That's right. All right. Well, I saw Lois Clark. Hello, Lois. Hello, Susan Swanbeck, Michelle Wilfong, Heidi Gold. I think that's how you say your last name. If I said that wrong, I'm very, very sorry. Hello, Susan. I saw Carrie Lynn Shellhorn as well pop in.
Whoa, look out. Carrie's in the house.
Yeah. Hello,
Uh,
Michelle Plummer. And
Michelle.
hello, Lois. Hello.
Hello. And now, that's right, we're speeding on. We're on speed dial today. I'm on 5 cups of coffee, not including from last night's 3 cups of coffee. So we're doing the hit list right here, right now. Then we'll talk just a minute. Then we're going to bring on our special guest because it's spooky season.
It's spooky
People get ready.
season.
Yeah. So some of you are here. Hit list. These are the people that were here last week and have helped us either promote the show, promote the network, or just our special thanks to you. Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. Hey, got your call out there. Laura Potivon. Yeah. Oh, we got a lot of members from the UPRN. Pop. Christina Spencer, Cindy Waghorn, Renee Cody, Keith Ottersberg, Chris Fox Roden, one of our longest travelers. Props to her. Kristen Coleman, our newest hostess. Terrence B. What up, dog? Raven Anna Mary Alicia. Mama D. Downs. That's Sean's mama.
Yep.
Nando De Serrario. Ooh, I said that with such French.
You did. It rolled right off the tongue.
Rolled. Oh, let's do it again. Sarah. Yeah. Reg. Robert White, our brother from down under. Rebecca Adams. Of course, our family down in Lynchburg. Hill City Paranormal, Sean and Courtney. Also to Mr. Rob G., who we were on last night. Yep. The man with the plan who kept us
on our toes, man. He's got good questions. That's all I can say.
He did. If you missed the show, go check it out. It was a great show. 2 hours just full of excitement. That's all I say. And I was full of coffee, not alcohol. That was crazy. And a special thank you to Bill Rigby. I mean, he's really been supporting us. His show, had a great conversation with him today. So special thanks to him. They're coming to get me.
They're coming to get you. And we've had a couple more. Hello, Tracy. How are you? Hey, John Sullivan. Thank you for joining us tonight. And the 747 that's landing, or the M88, whichever.
From Miami. Yeah. We want to acknowledge our network affiliates. UPRN, of course, UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Surprise tonight, right? Things Network Worldwide, not just Things Network, but now worldwide. They're over in Europe, Japan, Australia. Great group of people. They've worked really hard, just like the UPRN, to put themselves out there. And to your other family, the Vibe Network, right over there. And to our special groups, and we're going to knock this out real quick. Get ready, get set. To Everything Paranormal Worldwide, Whispers of the Past Paranormal, Everything Paranormal, Haunted West Midlands, Black County Paranormal, Paranormal Stories. Oh, what the heck? Oh, and Spooky Captures. I can't even read my own handwriting. Paranormal Facility, Haunted History and Horror, Paranormal Haunted Creepy Places and Ghost Stories, Paranormal Advertising, Fox Family Advertising, Paranormal University, Lore in the house again, to podcast, exclamation point, I have to put in there, share your podcast, promote your podcast, unlimited, everything paranormal, paranormal events and promotions, podcast, videos, cast, and promotions, paranormal promotions page for events, pages, and shows. And finally, a special thank you to podcasts from around the world and the groups. There is your list for the evening, travelers. What? Rhonda, let's talk just a minute.
Okay.
Let's talk about the weekend. Let's talk about yesterday. Whoa. And then we're going to bring on the one and only you-know-who.
Yeah.
So, what did you think about last night? I knew
last night was a lot of fun, but like I said, he has some really intriguing questions and some things I hadn't really thought about at times. And so then that was, I'm half asleep. I'm not used to being up that late talking and being on my game. So sometimes I felt like, oh, I don't even know what to say about that. But I thought it was so much fun. He's got a great energy about him.
So go check out that show. Go check out that show. And after, give props to Dave. We met Dave before the show. He kept promoting us after we left.
Oh, you mean Drew?
Drew, I'm sorry. Yes, Drew. Dude, where'd I get Dave from? Dave's not here, man. Yeah, absolutely. And he was talking about how we were talking about the afterlife. They talked about the baby thing.
Yeah.
Not going there. Talked about the compasses. So, actually, Drew and Rob did a great job after we left and kept promoting us, and props to them. Paranormal Outlaws, we talked about a sensitive subject, but it was a hangout session as always. So we had a great time. Tonight, directly after this, we both have 2 more podcasts. I have G3.
Yep, and I've got Freaking Awesome Paranormal Show. We will only be, I'm not sure if he's doing it under the Freaking Awesome Paranormal Show, if he's doing it under the Freaking Awesome playlist tonight. But one of the two, where we just talking, retro Halloween commercials and Halloween music.
And you may hear some of my selection, you may not, but of course I will not be there. We'll see. But I will not be there. Of course, I'll be hanging with my other brother. That would be Sean Elliott. I'm doing G3 tonight. What? Get your paranormal on. We got your freak all night long. So, I got special things going on. We have a special guest that's coming from to us. Let's try that again. Coming to us. Don't you love live podcasting? Yeah. Anything happens. I haven't cussed yet. We're doing good.
You're still on memory from last night where we're not allowed to cuss because you're on the radio.
Don't cuss. Don't cuss. Very special guest that's coming on from UPRN. She has her own show, which you're going to see in just a second. And we've got a special introduction for that. So without further ado, we're not going to wait. We're going to jump into this and get ready for this whole thing. Oh, she's blinking it out. We're getting ready. Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Michelle. Get this. Ready? Oh, man. My brain just went and said, because I
want to hear you say it.
You're waiting for me. Okay. Desrochers.
Sounded out like Hooked on Phonics, just like I sent it.
I did. I got caught. Got hooked, man. I was like,
would you like me to help you out?
Oh, no. Desrochers?
Yeah. It's Desrochers. Yeah. See, married it a long time ago, left it, but kind of got caught with it because it became the professional name. But I can always tell when I'm being solicited on the phone because I can never get it right. So,
that's a good
clearly
warning,
someone who does not know me.
How are you doing? Hello.
I am well, thank you. And thank you for having me. It is a pleasure to be here. So
we're going to bring the family in. There we go.
Family. I like it.
Yeah.
I see a lot of names in there that I recognize. So thank you all for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much. So it is the spooky season. And for those who don't know you, why don't you drop a little independent bio on who really is Michelle?
Oh, boy. Well, it's always hard because I never really like talking about myself a whole lot. But I have been in paranormal research, areas of high strangeness, media for the last 2 decades. And my primary part of all that, of course, has always been more about helping people than pretty much anything else. The television stuff has really been instrumental in helping people find me if they've needed me. So I am a world traveler. I love to travel the world. I only stay in haunted places. I am also a media consultant, which means I create and help create TV series and, radio shows, consult on books and things like that. So it's a lot of fun.
And see,
thank you.
If you remember, we actually met when both of us were on Blogtalkradio.
Very possible. Yeah.
Wow.
I wasn't on there for very long. That's for sure. Like this is, I've always done everybody else's stuff. Deciding to do a radio show for me was a producer's idea. You need to just stay out there because I retired from film. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. So what started out as a Q&A, just, with my friend Jack Kenna, right? Mm-hmm. We started out doing this Q&A thing. And he said, Michelle, he goes, I'm a much better guest than I am a host. I was like, what? Okay, well, I still love you.
Sounds like Jack.
I know. It's a Jack thing to say, right? And then, of course, I brought on another friend of mine, Amelia Pisano. And, we've been going strong for, probably since 2019. And we went from a radio station, like Blog Talk for a bit, then went to a radio station, and then of course, the world went a little silent, shall we say, and we decided to syndicate to United Public Radio, UFO Paranormal Radio, and rest is history. And you are one of our frequent flyers, so yeah, thank you. So we're always happy to see you and chat.
Absolutely. I try to get out there and preach, but I try to get out there and follow what I preach, and that's promoting unity. Getting the other networks involved, getting you guys involved with us, we get involved with you, just like we do with the other two networks. We really need to focus on this, especially now.
I think that's really important. UPRN is a 25-year-old network. It's actually an FM station with a podcast division. And we've been very, very fortunate because we meet so many people, and we've been able to do that because it has a pretty good reach, with the audio stuff. And people have just from all walks of life will email and we get them going to all the different shows, and we really try to promote everybody. And it's hard because with my schedule, it's not always easy. I don't get on social media a whole lot. So I miss out on everything that's freaking going on. It's just like people say, did you see this? I'm like, God, I got no life. I just don't know what's going on. So I have to rely on everybody else to pretty much tell me what's happening. I'm like, oh, is that right?
Yeah, so, I get that influx from your inboxes going, Howie! I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
You get it. And that's just one, right? I mean,
that's one.
I limit myself to certain, platforms because I could barely keep up with what I have. I only get on there, once in a while. People are just like, I once heard through somebody, well, somebody's upset with you because apparently you don't answer messages. I don't see messages. I get so many messages in a day. I'll get one, and by the end of the day, it could be at the bottom. So I always say, just put an emoji or something and pop yourself back up there if it's important, because I just don't see them. And so I'm trying not to be a snot. I really am pretty approachable, but I just have to see it,
You gotta be in bold.
Yeah.
Gotta be bold.
I know. Trying. There we go.
So, well, okay. Let's jump into the meat and gravy of you. So you're a paranormal researcher, historian.
Mm-hmm.
You dive into spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
You play a little bit with magic. You like a little bit of New Orleans style feel. Am I?
Well, it's my home base as far as, I manage UPRN as well. So I have to kind of like be in the thralls of the whole New Orleans bit. I love it. And helps me understand what the heck Joe Montaldo, my producer, is saying. So So I'm like, what'd you say? Slow down. But
sometimes Joe can talk pretty fast and direct.
He's fast, and he writes like he talks. And he goes, "Here, just have a look at that." You're kidding. It's like, no, what is this? But no, I guess I look at myself as a student, researcher of all things that would be deemed high strangeness. I love the whole ancient history, the whole hypothetical part of the ancient history. I kind of designed the show to cover a lot of that, because you realize as you go along, as I'm sure you guys realize as being researchers as well, just how intertwined everything is. Everything joins together like a big ball of yarn, and you have to try to unravel it all. And it's like, there's so much. It's hard to just say, I specifically only, research this, because it's connected to this. So much so, in fact, that a lot of the experiences I had as a child, I've questioned now, was it really that, or was it this? Because there's so many similarities. So that makes it really hard. Kind of the way it goes. You think one thing and you realize it may have been something entirely different the whole time. Right? So that's my take.
Well, we're in that spooky season.
Yes.
And before we get into the myths and lore, I have a specific question in your thought. It's something that popped in today, and you know what? Ask her. I'm like, sure, why not?
Are you sure you want to ask?
It's not that bad of a rabbit hole.
I'll do my best. Okay.
Well, if I get out of control, Rhonda can just throw a rope at me and smack me.
No, she's going to be reeling us both in if we hit on something.
This is true. Yeah.
I can handle it.
So let me ask you, do you find during this season and maybe November, between the 2 months, do you find or have you found that there is more activity in our world than usual, or is it about the same? This is a question that's everywhere, but everybody asks the same thing. Is the veil thinner? Is this happening? Is that happening? If it is, why do you think it's happening?
It's a loaded question, because I can go into different directions with it. Get ready, Rhonda. Okay. We could go into different directions with it. If you get back into Samhain and getting back into the ancient cultures, they believe that the veil was actually thinnest in and around Christmas, New Year's, that whole time. But we have other cultures who believe that no, it is around this time of the year. So it could be one of two things. Yes, it actually happens. Or those of us who really want it to happen are creating like a tulpa effect. And we're just putting so much into it, and we want it. And are we all combined? Are we creating a certain type of energy that is opening things up, or maybe even opening up doorways? Or are we amplifying those spirits that are out there to be more active because we're out there more? We're doing ghost tours, we're going to haunted events, we're doing all of these shows, we're all talking about it.
People are more open. Like they're like you said, they're more open. They want to see it. People believe it's thinner, so therefore it is thinner. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. And I think there's a mix of everything, and I love it. I think it's great. It's personally, autumn has always been my favorite time of year, and Halloween has always been a lifestyle for me. It hasn't been so much, few days out of the year. And then the great thing about Halloween is it rolls right into Day of the Dead, so you kind of get a double hit, right?
There you go. Go. Well, here comes a question from our left, and it's usually that's the person who would do it to it. Question is, so Michelle, are you familiar with Rebecca Rose, Space Soldier and Montauk Kid?
I can't say that I am, unfortunately. But I have, communicated with people who have interviewed people with the whole Montauk thing. Something that we may tackle this coming year, but I'm booking into February now. So every time I get a brilliant idea about doing something, by the time I get there to actually being able to bring somebody on, it sort of goes. So you feel free to remind me about that, Robert. I will get on it. I promise you.
Yeah, and that's not a bad idea to talk about on another show.
We talk about all kinds of that stuff.
Yeah, we do all the time. It's probably a good thing I don't have access to your show. I'd be probably jumping in with you too, and your lovely host.
Well,
come on, give her some props.
We do bring on guest hosts once in a while too.
Nice.
You know,
that's right. I will be with you Thursday.
Yeah, you are, and we're going to, have a whole gab session. We can talk about whatever you want, because 'tis the season. Nothing is really off the table, but there are times where we just say, "Oh, let's bring on a guest host and let's just have some fun." And we have a lot of open mic nights. Well, I'll say a lot. It went from being quarterly to being so much in demand that it became once a month. And that's usually when we'll bring in, let's say, a guest host and say, okay, what do you want to talk about? We let the chat room take over, and it goes pretty wild. That's
always fun, though. It's always fun to have that open, no structure, just to see where the wind takes us.
I agree with you, Rhonda. I do. I love it. I have really I'm so diehard with let's bring the guests on, because we do book up quite a bit. And it took me a while to get away from the guilt of doing the show without a guest. We've been waiting, and then it's got to the point where it's just like, you know what? Let's just do this. I want to become relaxed with it. And I start bringing on guest hosts. So it's not technically, I'm not really missing out on not bringing somebody on. And thank you, Robert. I really appreciate that you do. We appreciate you very much.
He knows if he doesn't, he's probably going to get his butt kicked.
I know. I love it. So remind me about Montauk.
Let me take that back. I'm not going to say that.
Verbally,
we are Frog Brothers. So,
I love it. I love it. No, I love the whole unity thing that you guys, you embrace it, and you can tell it's not just lip service. It's a thing. Yeah. And I think it's very important, because I just think there's not enough of it.
No, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. I think all these podcasts need to be more in tune with their audience and less in tune with just focusing on the guests, because actually it's the listeners and the viewers' show. They provide it, they talk it, they say it. And we have wonderful travelers, people that come to this network. Kat Ward is new here, and we want to welcome her. A warm welcome, Kat.
Paranormal. She's a Paranormal Heart podcast. So you PRN.
There it is.
There you go. My fellow hosts are chiming in, and our guests, our chat room. I love it. Yes. Well, you've seen our shows. We were the same way. We make it a lot about, we thank everyone in chat, but we also, when I created the Outer Realm, I took all the pieces of interviews that I enjoyed doing over the years, and it came down to more of a round table type of show. Like you're just hanging out with a couple of friends, having a coffee or drink, whatever the case may be, and just chatting about something that you want to talk about. And we've had guests say, "Can I say that?" And I'm just like, "It's your show." Go crazy. Just
Thank
do
you.
It. Yeah. Right?
As long as you're not disrespectful to me, her, or our guest, you're good. If you are, well, then you get flushed. Simple. Right.
Yeah. We've got some pretty terrific guests. We've had terrific people in chat, and we're really grateful and humbled.
Oh, there you go. Kat's already dropping a question. Michelle, how did you decide to come up with the name Outer Realm?
I consult on stuff. So people will ask me to create show names for them, and I'll pop them out of my head. Like I said, give me 10 minutes, I'll give you a list. And I just like the Outer Realm because it encompassed everything outside the realm of normal. And what people don't know is there's actually another show called Beyond the Outer Realm.
Right. That is another wonderful friend of ours. Yes, we're connected with them as well.
Well, Beyond the Outer Realm is actually we've got that copyrighted here in Canada. So I haven't touched that one, but I've owned it for quite a while, but it will be for things that you will see on things like Patreon, and things that you can't do, on the big YT.
Right.
You always want to be naughty. You got to have backup. So.
Reinforcements.
Yeah.
So
you need to have the sound effect, though. You guys are great with the sound effect.
Oh, you mean this one? Is it going to play?
Do it.
Daggone it. Come on.
Right there.
I got it. Don't worry. I'm
There
locked
we
and
go.
loaded.
That's exactly, there you go. Exactly it.
So,
it has a whole different meaning with the sound effect.
It really does. It really does.
Yeah.
Aw.
So, podcasting is a part of your life. Promoting is a part of your life. What about the spirit world? How does the spirit world play into who you are now? You weren't ready for that, were you?
Yeah, well, it's sort of been a part of my life from the time I was a child, because my family was very much intuitive. I came to find out as I got older on both sides, but especially on my mother's side. So it was never uncommon to go to my grandparents' house or to an aunt or uncle, and you see a dead person, and it's kind of like, I would tell my mother, it would be like, I was never discouraged, which I think is very, very important, because if children feel like you are discouraging them, you are the person that protects them. You're the person that they're supposed to be able to go to with anything. And if you make them feel silly, like there's no such thing, you're being stupid, you're being silly, they clamor up. And then that's when things can get pretty serious, right? Mm-hmm. As far as them getting into some trouble, maybe not realizing who they're communicating. So I'm very grateful that my mother and my family would be just like, okay, what did the person look like? And they would show old photographs, and I would just point out who it is without being led. And they'd say, oh, well, this is Uncle so-and-so. And I swear to God, dead people visited my grandparents on a regular basis. I don't know what it was, but I got all the lowdown as I got older about all these creepy stories. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? Like, where did all this come from? But now I can embrace it, and of course came to find out that we were all experiencers as well. So we really have a mix of things. So I was not a stranger to it. I still embrace it. I think I'm just a natural born researcher. Like, I research things to death. I need viable explanations. People, I always say, and I always have to say it, people have seen me on television, and I don't run around screaming freaking demon all the time. I'm just saying, I'm such a logical person, but I don't have any creative control. I've worked with amazing producers, but I don't have creative control. I give 5 other answers to that one question, believe it or not. And it's the one they go with because it's the one that sells. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I believe that it's always that. And I don't doubt for sure there are things out there that you really need to to be leery of, and they're one of them. It's just trying to figure out, what are they exactly? Are they preconditioning because we're preconditioned through faith, or are we talking an extraterrestrial race? Because you've talked to UFOlogists, they might just tell you they're reptilians, or what are they exactly? Just a race in general, like vampires and werewolves? See what I did there?
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's what it comes down to. So it's very much a part of who I am from childhood, and I've worked with people all over the world in dealing with things like that and helping them develop, teaching them mindsets to take control of their own lives. And sometimes it's easier than you think, because I used to have like almost a 2-year waiting list for people who wanted to deal with me in person. And it just got to a point where I would work with them either online or through the phone, and by the time it came up, I always prioritize children and animals, the elderly, and anybody who called it onto themselves. Well, you're having to take a back seat. I'm sorry. If you're purposely going, like, you want to play with the dead, you just careful what you wish for. But,
it's dead man's party.
Yeah, the little kid, however, who's living with you might get me there a little quicker. So thank the kid, be nice to the kid, because then I'll get there a bit quicker. But so through that time, just in working with mindset and educating people of how things work, by the time I've called people back and say, okay, I can come in. No, we're good. Everything you've instructed us, we're good now. Well, excellent. That's what I want to hear, because I'm going to be dead one day and you're going to have to figure it out.
I like that comment right there. The dead may want to play back.
Exactly.
And exactly. You touch on something so very important, where like you had the blessing that your parents, were open to it. Your mother was open to it. She didn't shut you down. So many of us, especially I see so many people embrace their gifts later in life, in their 30s and their 40s, because the parents either shut them down and made, like you said, them feel stupid, or or guilty. Just straight up, or made you feel like you were crazy, or made you feel like, or just,
and it was a time too, right, Rhonda?
Or made you scared of it.
It's true. Exactly. But it was also the time. We don't talk about things like that. The neighbors will think we're crazy. Don't talk to people about that. But it's a thing. When your friend comes and spends the night and stuff starts happening in the house, and you're like, I didn't say anything. It did.
Right. Again, it goes back to the whole making you feel guilty.
In a way, yes. And my dad never wanted to talk about it. My mom was the one, right? The mom was the one who sat there and she'd say, oh, I know, I understand. And I could talk to her about it. My dad would be the one who would just sort of go, nope, I'm not talking about this. This isn't a thing. But here's the kicker. As I got older and I became an adult and I got a family of my own, my dad starts chiming off all these freaking ghost stories. Like, thank you for that. I'm growing up thinking this is a big taboo, and you're telling me all this time you've seen UFOs.
It's the end of the church.
Your friend died and came and visited you. You're fishing on a lake, and the stuff you don't believe in, and a radio at your friend's old cottage starts going off like by itself. There's no lights on because your friend's there. And he just looked at me. He would just laugh. Not funny. I could laugh about it now, but at the time, I'm just like, I grew up thinking that this was a complete taboo, and you feel really bad for talking about it. And I was older, like I wasn't, I was experiencing things very young, but I think as I got older, maybe they were just afraid I'd let it all out of the house and just go talking to people.
That's a valid point.
The church would be sending people to your door.
Yeah,
exactly.
Don't go to that house. That's where the weird people live.
You went wrong.
Sad part is that's where everybody came.
I know. I know.
Right.
But it's so funny because the childhood home was really crazy with activity. And I keep saying you're welcome to everybody, but it really wasn't my fault. I thought it was for a while. I thought maybe I just went through puberty and was extra active or something. I don't know. But I had an aunt who liked to play with Ouija boards, and there was 10 years between us. So I'm thinking she was the culprit because all these things used to happen to her, and she'd visit all the time. So I blame her. Makes me feel better to think I wasn't new, put my family through that. But what I'm like, up until I would say about 5 or 6 years ago, just before my mother sold the house, she picked up on this. She says, there's something in the corner that is making a crazy noise. I'm like, Mother. And my father went into extended care. Said, Mother, you're by yourself. The house is haunted. It could be anything. I'm trying to be the logical one. Right. My mother's like, I am not 12. I know when I hear something or not. So I let it go. I said, do me a favor. Just take your iPad. Just set it there. Don't talk to anything. Just set it down and let it go. She let it go for 10 minutes. And maybe you guys could chime in on this, anybody, because I kind of sat back and went, I have never heard this before. And I lived there for like 20 years and never heard this ever. And it was like, how you have the ropes and rigging on an old wooden ship?
Yes.
And how it twists against the wood?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it was. And she caught a few minutes of it. She goes, yeah, it happens, any night between 10:30. Okay, we're going to go RV the house and see if there's anything in the sky.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Like somebody swinging for a rope, wink, wink, or being pulled as you stretch on the rope. That
rubbing in, it was rubbing against the wood, or like you're just getting the sails going. And I researched and found all kinds of things in ancient flying sailing ships. They are a freaking thing. That's a show in itself, Howie. Okay.
Wow.
That's a show in itself. But it is a thing. And a lot of the ancient people talked about it in their reports where people would just come down off of a sky ship, and they would come down on wooden ropes, and they
Yep.
would drop down one would drop down in front of a church in Europe. I'm going, okay.
Steampunk, baby. We are here.
Right? So I'm like, okay, maybe it's just dimensional and we just kind of crossed or something, or maybe the ocean was there in the same. I don't know what it was, but it was a rope. It wasn't an anchor. So just like a rope ladder type of thing. Like it was just weird. So anyway, I've got this crazy recording, and
I would love to hear it, Michelle. I would love to hear that recording.
I would have to dig that up. That sucker's like about 10 minutes long. You can hear cars on the road. Everything stops and you hear this.
I can tell you what I think it is. Okay. Just kind of going back into my past and thinking about things, it is a very possibility that it is static being broken or electrons firing off right before activity.
See, I've heard stuff like staticky, and usually when you hear the static, you see like little light works, like little light shows, but this did not have any of that. It was a twisting of a rope against wood.
And it's every night around the same time.
No, not the same time, because the first thing I think was it got to be residual.
Right. But I was just wondering.
Yeah, nope. Sometime between 10:30, and the sounds are never the same, because I got her to do a couple of recordings. It's the same sound, but it's not the same pattern. You know what I'm saying?
Have you ever heard the snap, crackle, or pop right before?
Get me started. Yes, I have multiple times, and people report it around malevolent. I'm gonna go there. The big D, around the demonic, dark energy sort of things, but the same sounds have been heard during an extraterrestrial abduction.
Thank you. Yes. In our research, we did a location for 3 years. Researched the same place. We found the snap, the crackle, and the pops. This is how we came across this. This was 14 years ago.
Yes.
And this is here we are now going, you need to hear this. We didn't have any negative or malicious at that location, but we had a buttload of activity. We actually had girls talking amongst each other, women. Flirting about one of our investigators that was walking out the door. It's on YouTube. So,
that's crazy. But it shows you that there is something. So you have to understand, when I say that kind of activity, the only locations or families I ever worked with were in malevolent in nature, because I seem to have, it didn't bother me. I used to have a lot of researchers that would say, you know what, we like investigating the paranormal, but this is out of our wheelhouse. We're not interested in it. We don't want to take a chance on bringing like some nasty spirit back over to our families. And I understood that. And I'm like, okay, that's all I ever used to do. However, I'll tell you something. I would say 50 to 60% of the people that I've helped had ET activity as well, or experiences.
See, I'm telling you, there's something with the extraterrestrial, dimensional, celestial world in our world. I mean, Rhonda and I have talked about this.
Yeah.
Even the foul smells of sulfur, alien abduction, they get it too.
Bright lights.
Sleep paralysis, bright lights.
Now, this is something Carrie Lynn and I have talked about. There's been many documentations of owls during a...
Carrie Lynn and Howard. There we go.
Just saying that during an abduction or a event that the client recalls either seeing a owl had something to do with it, or it was like a premonition. You know what? Even our own government. Okay, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it real quick. Our government has the ability to do certain things we're not even aware of. So what if they can, and I'm just going to put this in a hypothetical theory.
I'm just going to keep being a bobblehead. I'm just going to keep agreeing with you because I know where you're going.
That you fact checkers can suck it right now.
Flush the toilet, Howie.
My opinion. Yes, ma'am. I'll be glad to do that for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And this is the way I feel about it.
No, I agree.
So,
I agree. And there's a lot of people who are not necessarily being taken by ET, right?
no,
Yeah,
I think our government has the ability to cut into the time continuum or use dimensional travel to do sometimes and I'm going to use this because of GOS that was on as the pre-show. Staunton, one of the most evilest places on the planet, that would be Desrochers Hospital, Western State. If they can get away with kidnapping their own town folk, let's put that on a larger scale.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Hypothetically speaking, before you try to come after me, the fact is, if there's a possibility, if they're in lab suits and they do a cut, or if they knock you out, someone, private group, hey, during an abduction and you're drugged, what are these suits going to look like to you when you're in that ecstatic, comastatic situation?
Look at the background too. You can tell, extraterrestrial ship, right? Extraterrestrial ship, no seams. The floors are, I mean, almost like people have reported like glass. They've reported that you could see through them. Whereas people who I have met or interviewed who sometimes don't even realize that they are the big, MIL, are reporting lines in the floor, lines down the corridor, so you have to follow them, and automatic doors that open. Whereas on an extraterrestrial ship, there's just, it seems that you can just kind of pass through. Like it's just a different background, I think, altogether.
If we conglomerate the two, you'll see a complete difference.
Yeah.
And I think you can recognize one from the other very clearly, if that's the case. And it may not even be a ship that they're going to. Maybe it's a whole nother dimension in a whole nother building. Or
stories I have.
Yeah. See?
I've done so much research. Not just for the Outer Realm and the show that Joe and I have called The Gray Zone Uncensored, which was done just during lockdown time to give people something to do. And I only used research from the internet, and I would give everybody the sources. So it gave them something, because couldn't go out. So they could do something on their own and continue on that research from those sources and go find whatever else that they wanted. It was just sort of something to just kind of interact with people and keep them involved, because it was just a weird time. But I'll tell you, some of the information I have found has just been through the roof. And you just have to look at the fact that why is it that we, in this day and age, have all these big concerns and all these fears and these abductions and yada, yada, yada. Whereas the ancients, a lot of them coexisted quite nicely with the beings from the stars. And look at all the petroglyphs and hieroglyphs and ancient monuments and out of place artifacts. And I know you get me perfectly. See, why is it? What changed? When did it change?
We changed the church.
That, I think, and certain branches of people got power hungry and reverse engineering, and now because we have technology, right? But how many of these beings have been here the whole time?
Right.
Why are we assuming everything is from the stars?
Yes.
Right. So there's a whole rabbit hole we started.
Well, it happens. Welcome to Orion. We should have our own paranormal expo and just have all the networks come together and just have a big old table discussion.
I think so. I
would
think
love
so.
to do a telethon with all the networks.
There's a lot of info out there. There really is. And when everybody pulls together all of the research that they've done and what they've found, it's just amazing. You work as one. You're going to be able to get a lot more information out there than if you're trying to just struggle through it on your own.
Yeah. That's the fact. Looking at how we go about things, how we interact with just each other, more or less someone outside of our circle. I mean, that's why we're the cockroaches of the universe. We want to blow stuff up. Oh, I didn't cuss. Did you hear that? I'm so good. Very good.
You have hard workers, and I think hard workers need to be rewarded for their hard work, and they need to be acknowledged for their hard work. Unfortunately, there's a lot of other people, who like to sort of get in your lane a little bit without doing the hard work. They kind of want in on the action sort of thing. And I'm like, you know what? There's enough out there for everyone. You don't really need to, ride off of somebody else's reputation or write off somebody else's name, because for all you know, they may have it wrong. And if they have it wrong, then it doesn't look too good for you. So
we also have the wrong ability to acknowledge when we're wrong.
Yeah.
How many people in the paranormal field, spiritual or supernatural field, have you ever said, "My bad, I was wrong"?
Oh, I'll do it. Hands down. I'll say, yeah, I totally snoozed on that and I apologize.
My bad.
But I tell everybody, because the TV shows are always like, oh, Michelle's our paranormal expert. And I would always say to the producers, there's no such thing as an expert. Just, you may not want to put that down because it will really look bad. Well, we like the word expert. So I get in there in every interview I've ever had and say, I'm a student of high strangeness. I am a student of the paranormal. I am a student. I want to learn. I can't learn enough. It's all about learning. It's all about evolution. I was recently asked, and I still haven't done it, and I feel bad because my schedule is so crazy, to do a recording of myself with a question, what does the paranormal mean to you? And I'm like, it's a very loaded question because it should be basic, but after 2 decades, it's like what the paranormal meant to me in the beginning was a journey of trying to figure out what happened to me as a kid and trying to help other people and have an understanding of how it all works. But what it means to me now is the fact that I've just realized that it's one more facet of so many that are all connected, that has been a part of my journey into awareness and evolution. It gets so technical that I just don't know how many people be kind of going, right. Why? Because it really is. I've evolved from this to this just through learning. It changes and it's different for everybody.
And then we go and study and we learn even more as we get older with Tesla, with Einstein, with Dr. Rhine, Dr. Edwards. I mean, you realize, okay, that theory was pretty good, but I didn't have a reason behind it. Now I have the backing for the theory and understanding. It's the same thing. How many of you out there, travelers, be honest, how many of you knew that an atom was not a solid matter? How many of you? Right. I guarantee a good portion of us always thought it was a solid matter. It's not.
I was not a real big fan of science, so I can tell you for great certainty, I did not know.
Okay, and there you go. Right. But I have to apply the science in my. I was going, how can I prove that spirits or ghosts, G-word, exist? Exactly. We made up of protons. Protons are still gas. It's atoms. Atoms are a gaseous liquid form and it's not a solid, which led me back to Einstein's first book with his two camaradeers. Give me the understanding that I can actually come up with a feasible explanation on how spirits or ghosts can exist and do the way they do. I haven't gotten there yet, but that progression from military academy to where I am now, it's like a hiatus. I've gotten my answers. Now, how do I put them together?
That's the hard part, though, because you may never have all those answers. And every time I've done interviews, they'll ask me about certain things about the paranormal. The best thing I'll come up with is I'll let you know when I get there because we don't know. We don't. That's the thing. But for me, it's about the journey of discovery. Yes. If something comes up with a question mark, I'm actually pretty excited about that because there is nothing definitive, right, in that field per se. But if I could get a question mark, it tells me it's not a scrub and I get to keep looking and maybe, just maybe, there'll be that answer. Thank you. I'm really having fun with this.
Welcome to our world. Rhonda's like, no, not the sound, but like, hey, look.
No, I'm rolling with it. This is great.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris made it. She's here. She's in the house. You made it, Chris. Thank you. It's okay. We had 5 minutes go. You made it. That's all that matters.
Right.
So let me ask you this. We've got 5 minutes, like I just stated.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see you and Joe taking the UPRN?
Well, the UPRN is completely Joe's. I have to say, he kind of harassed me for about well over a year, possibly even 2, to take management. And I'm like, I have no time. But my primary job technically is I consult. I'm consulting, on a television show right now. Not paranormal, but I can tell you it could go to strange places. But anyway, it's very exciting. But UPRN, since he's basically just thrown it on my lap and says you have carte blanche, I've already doubled the amount of shows that are on it. We're over 30 shows in the podcast divisions of UPRN, and growing, because I still have more people to interview. I just can't do it in October because it's a blur for me. Yeah, thank you. So it will continue to grow, and it's not all just levels of high strangeness. There's just a lot of the daytime stuff. There's just a lot of quantum stuff, business stuff. There's something for
the name
everyone.
Quantum. You brought up quantum.
Right. I know. I'm kind of like your new best friend right now, aren't I? I like the gift that keeps on giving. I know. But no, there's something literally for everyone. There's just so much information, and I have no doubt it's been around for 25 plus years. I foresee it, going another 25, as long as I don't hang Joe first, we'll be okay. But he knows I love him. He knows I love him.
We love you, Joe.
We love you, Joe. I know. So, yeah.
So we got 3 minutes. Let these people, these travelers and those like out there, these wonderful group that's with us, tuning in, listening, where can they find you? Mm-hmm. What do you got going on for yourself?
Well, they could find me, of course. Best place to communicate with me is michelledesrochers.com. Seriously, I'll answer you. Forget social media. I'm not being rude. I just can't. There's just too many. Wednesday night, we've got Carrie Lynn and Laura Lee Potvin on the Outer Realm every Wednesday, Thursday, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern. And then this guy right here is on with us on the Thursday. Mm-hmm. So it's a week of friends and relaxing, and I wanted to finish off, and then the week after that will be the same, and then we're going to get back heavier into some of the heavier content shows. So that's pretty much it. And as far as what I'm doing and growing our network is essentially just consulting on this TV show, which is really, it takes up a lot of time because it's very, very in-depth. It's going to be a pretty big series that's going to make another certain show out there that just likes to collect a lot of wood on an island with an alleged treasure look very sad. It's going to make it look very sad. And I've told them that too. So yeah, we'll leave that right there.
Well,
remember I said it. Right here.
That's right. Right here. First. And now we're giving you the elbow. You're coming back in 2025, right?
Oh, yeah.
Coming back.
I'll come back. I'll come back anytime you like.
Absolutely. We'll set that up. Travelers and those like, thank you for tuning in to the Orion Effect right here on the R.I.F.T Nation Network. It's been a pleasure, Michelle. Thank you so much for taking the time to come out. Travelers and those like, continue to help each other. Let's get everybody moving forward, get them out of the thought of not looking and get them looking. While we're doing that, let's put our hands together, get ourselves on our own surfboards and the cosmos, and let's take that universal wave with ease, but we also know how to hang 10. We'll see you next Sunday on the Halloween extravaganza. Oh, Rocky.
Or a picture show.
The bit there. G3. Coming up next. Virtue be yours, travelers.
Good night. Be good humans this week.